Hi, you guys have been sitting here for a while, so stand up. Come on, stand up. Stretch out. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself as you're stretching out, okay? I think it's important that I give you a little bit of, well, no disclosures. I have been self-employed. I started my own consulting company in healthcare 17 years ago. So I have no business partners. I don't consult for drug companies or blah, blah, blah. Yes, I have some hospital clients I've worked for in the past, or maybe an insurer when they bought a health system, but nobody owns me. My wife and kids. I'm from Southern California. I'm from Orange County, but I grew up in rural Pennsylvania. Du Bois, Pennsylvania. Anybody from Pennsylvania? Born and raised. My father moved there after training. He came here and he was the town OB-GYN. After 30 years and 11,000 births that he delivered, he handed the practice over to my brother-in-law. I have 4 physicians in my family, dermos, 2 OB-GYNs, ENT, head and neck, and then I was the black sheep. I went to law school. I don't. No slides for me. I'm all talk. I'm sorry. It's just nerve it has. Yes, it's perfect. No slides. And I'll tell you why in a second. I went to law school, and then I actually worked in the entertainment business for 10 years. Has anyone seen Entourage on HBO? Ari hired me. So I worked for the real Ari Emanuel. Right out of law school, I went to California and did my last year of law school at Pepperdine as I worked for one of the big 4 talent agencies. Stayed in entertainment for about a decade, moved to the management side. I'm not Lloyd. I am married, I have kids, although he's an amazing actor. But I represented actors, writers, and directors. And then as I became a manager, I produced. And so when my siblings were coming out of training, they said, hey, you went to law school. Should I sign this? I said, well, I don't know anything about healthcare. I read the agreement, and excuse my language. I said, but why would you sign that piece of shit? That is indentured servitude. Let's negotiate this thing. Like, can we do that? I'm like, why not? You have other job offers that are coming out of Penn. Like, why not? Come on, let's negotiate. So for the better part of a decade, I negotiated physician contracts for free. That wasn't what I did. Someone would call me, and I'm still amazed when people call me. I'm like, how did you get my name? Well, your sister's wife's butcher's friend, blah, blah, blah. So for the better part of a decade, I negotiated physician contracts at night and on weekends. And I really enjoyed it. And then I left entertainment because it just wasn't fulfilling to me. And so I worked in private equity briefly, and that's when I decided, you know what? The most fun I had is when I was advocating for people who were like my father, right? And so I made that a career. What I do now is 50% of my work is, yes, I have physician clients. I probably have physician clients in 36 states. I have clients that are at hospital employed, academic. 20% of my people are at academic. They're in rural communities. I've negotiated income guarantees. I've started their practices because they need to know how to start the practice. The hospital can't start it for you. What billing company should I? What's the billing company? I have hospital employed. I have people at physician foundations, doctors at Kaiser, so I have physicians in all models, okay? And it would be very foolish if I thought I could put up some slides and say, hey, this is what an employment contract looks like. Because let me tell you, you guys give each other some really bad information. You really do, and that's not your fault, okay? For instance, I've heard, Dr. Liu, I'm looking forward to meeting you. Anthony Chan is a client of mine, and of course, Azure and other people, and so I've heard your name over the years. Dr. Liu practices in California. Thank goodness, because we're a no non-compete state. But I tell you, if you're gonna go work in Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Virginia or Washington State or Texas, you're not getting around the non-compete. You're not, it's not gonna happen. You can mitigate it. Everything is negotiable, okay? Everyone always says that, oh, my residency, any residents or fellows here? Thank goodness, thank goodness. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everybody's here. Although I will tell you, so they say, you know what, you can't negotiate that. That's just not true. You can negotiate everything. This isn't a group contract. Your contract is your contract, okay? And so I can't tell you how many times people said, well, we can't negotiate that. Well, we just did. Wow. I was told they've never given a signing bonus. Well, I just got $30,000. So, so what I would say is, sorry, I do keep looking. I should have brought sides, I guess. So what I would say is, I wouldn't come into your office and say, look, I have a hernia, but I watched a YouTube video, doc, and can we do this way? You'd be like, no, no. So I'd say to you is, any of you at any situation, if you find yourself in an employment disagreement, or you just don't know, you're coming out of residency, you're coming out of fellowship, find a physician advocate, somebody who does this for a living. And this isn't the guy on the street who in the phone book says he's a healthcare attorney. Yeah, there are lots of healthcare attorneys out there. How many physician agreements have you done in the last year? Have you done any in my specialty in the last 5 years? Find that out, okay? Because, for instance, everyone says, oh, I was told that MGMA is the gold standard. By whose definition? That's not fair market value. AMGA is not fair market value. Collier-Sullivan's not fair market value. You wanna know what fair market value is? Is what you negotiate with your employer at an arm's length agreement, okay? That's fair market. If you want the best information, which is why I don't know why physicians and surgeons are so afraid to talk about the business side of things, right? You're starting to open up. What do you make? Tell them. That's the best information. So when I have an ophthalmologist going to Washington State and they're like, well, guess what? I got 4 within a 20-mile radius. I got 3 at that same hospital system. That's the best knowledge. I know what they're willing to pay you, okay? Now look, money isn't everything. And so you residents and fellows, what I'll tell you, because I work with people, you know, it's not just the negotiation side. I sell practices. I have developed outpatient centers for my hospital clients. I start multi-specialty groups. I sell shares in ASCs. I've started ASCs. I've recruited. I've been a retained recruiter for 6 different hospitals. Highmark, anyone in Pittsburgh? When Highmark bought the West Penn Allegheny system, they hired me as the first retained physician recruiter to go out and get physicians. So I know it from both ends. I know what they're looking for. I know what their tolerances are, okay? Your contract is gonna start when you start looking for a job. Don't start in your last year. Start 2 or 3 years out. Start talking to people. You'll figure out. This is so important. I wish this meeting was at the first day of this conference. This was, I think of all the meetings that I saw on your agenda, I think this should have been the most important one. This should have been first. You will find out what your first job might want to be by talking to all these people in this room, the people you're training with, the people you rotate in and out of. Wow, I might be interested in going to an academic. I might want to go to El Centro. This sounds just, do I want to go to a private practice that I have some mentorship? Right? And once you figure out what you might want, start looking early. They're not all online, right? Come to events like this. Make cold calls. Call up people that you trained with in residency or medical school. Hey, are they looking over there? And yeah, I think they are. Talk to someone like me. Look, there are even headhunter companies, right, that are okay, right? Trust me, I'm sure you're sick of the emails. Come to Paducah, Kentucky. They have a lake, and I'll get you a $60,000. But you know what? There's some work there. I'm sure you get it from all the contingent companies. It drives you nuts. I use them. I use them for my companies, right? I have an anesthesiology group, I have a hospitalist group, and we have to recruit, and sometimes we need that. But there's some benefit in that. But just know that they get paid $30,000 when they stick you in Paducah, Kentucky. So it's gonna be all roses, right? I've never wanted to do contingent recruiting because I want my client hospitals and I want my client physicians to be a really good match. I want there to be complete transparency, right? What's the point of you going for a job and, hey, I got a great salary for 2 years, but you're gonna have to leave. Your spouse is not staying in Paducah, and I like Paducah, Kentucky. I'm only using that as a example because, you know, I flew there one time for a hospital client of mine. They had a GI there, and he was flying in from South America, and we wanted to recruit him, and my hospital CEO, I said, you fly into Nashville, I'll meet you. We're gonna drive to Paducah. He's like, where? I said, Paducah, Kentucky. And we went there, and we didn't leave that dinner in that hospital room until that physician signed. But great town. But what I'm telling you is your contract will be based on the type of opportunity that you want to take. And we could talk a whole day about compensation, right? So what's an RVU? How much should I get paid for an RVU? What does it mean for, is it the RVUs that I bill or is it the RVUs I collect? Every health system, every private group will have a different definition of what that means. And if you don't have somebody, and if you think that you can understand that, be careful. You should start learning it. I think and Azure will tell you, I find my job is, yeah, I'll review the agreement, but we'll spend an hour and a half and we'll go through all those things that I find really important that physicians make mistakes on. Non-compete. Are you from the area? Do you have family there? Are you gonna buy a house? Then you better damn well make sure that you do mitigate your non-compete, okay? Or you better make sure that, hey, you can hold me to the non-compete, but if you terminate me without cause within the first 12 months, they're not being held to it. Because think about this. You have people who sign non-competes. They sign up for this great job. They have a great signing bonus. They have a great guaranteed salary, and something happens. And guess what? The health system only had to give them 30 days notice. I've had candidates call me and said, my offer was pulled before they even started. And they didn't realize, oh, wow. I said, well, what was your notice provision? What's that? Well, if you had a 90-day notice provision, well, the least that they would have to do is pay your 90 days, you keep the signing bonus, and guess what? If you still want to move to Pittsburgh, they can't hold you to that non-compete. But they show up, literally 2 months of employment. The group fell apart. Now they can't work in the area. My mom lives there. I moved there because my in-laws are there. So that's the crap that's been going on for the last 17 years that I've been a part of. So contracts, sorry. So they did ask me to come here for contracts. So it is important. But I wanted to give you my background because it's not just contracts, okay? Contract terms are very important, right? But it's not about money, especially for you surgeons. It's about what type of practice are they gonna allow me to do? Will I get block time? What locations are gonna make me send me? Wait, I have to do call like 30 miles away? I don't have any control of what hospitals you send me to? I don't get paid for call? Wait, who signed up for this? Hey, I did an income guarantee. Wait, great guarantee for my first 12 months, but now I'm making $150,000, and if I wanna leave within 4 years, I gotta pay it all back? No one told me that. I said, well, didn't you have an attorney? Yeah, who was your attorney? Bob, he helped me buy my house. He ain't a healthcare attorney. He doesn't understand income guarantees. So if you really want to do your profession a solid, especially these young docs, push them to people who advocate for physicians, right? Start learning it yourselves. And when you get those darn surveys in the mail, lie. I'm allowed to say that. Your surveys are so skewed, I'm like, who even sends that in? Everyone says, oh, well, that's MGMA median. Okay, good for that. That's not what my docs are making in that area of the world. Okay, sorry, contracts. I know, sorry. They're like, wait, you got here for contracts. Everything is negotiable. It is, okay? In my 17 years of doing this, I've only really had 2 places that refused to allow me to negotiate. By the way, I don't go into Azure will tell you, I don't go into a negotiation and say, well, take it or leave it. No, my job is to go on in and advocate for the physicians. I want to make the deal, right? It would do me no good to make unreasonable demands for you, okay? It would be, if your representative is making unreasonable demands and doesn't know the market, doesn't know what's realistic, they're gonna kill your deal, okay? And if you really want that job, right? My job is to make sure that you're paid fair. My job is to make sure you understand what you're signing. My job is to make sure there's no language in there that is dangerous. The dangerous things are the non-competes, the termination clauses, call, practice locations. They can send me where? I didn't know that. Loan forgiveness, right? So if you have loans coming out and you do want to be a part of the federal loan forgiveness, you got to make sure it's a qualifying employer. Doesn't mean it has to be academic. Plenty of hospitals out there that are non-profit that qualify. Hey, I'll go there for 2 or 3 years. I got 5 years left on the loan forgiveness. Great signing bonus. But then you're like, you know what? I don't want to be employed like this. That's okay. 60% of physicians who come out of training will leave their first job within their first contract period. Those are studies that have been shown that. And for you surgeons and physicians who have been practicing for many years and you're unhappy, leave. Find somewhere that will treat you fairly and with respect. okay? You don't be afraid. I know you might have a mortgage. I know you'll be like, hey, I've been here for so long. That's okay. You will find a place that will treat you well, pay you well, or let you practice independently. God, it's so nice. I don't have to sit in these meetings with these people. I don't even know what their titles are. And they're telling me about my Press-Ganey scores. They want me to increase my patient encounters or my RVU levels, my time with the patients. Do you know what they never talk to you guys about? Quality, outcome. Those are the people you're dealing with. And I'm not blaming them, right? It has to be sustainable. But you have to look out for yourselves, and what I tell to you, what I said, if you think you're under a bad employment agreement, if you think you have a raw deal, find out. Hire someone who can say, yeah, you know what? That's a real bad deal. Here's what we need to do. You don't have to negotiate because I have 3 more years on my contract. This isn't an NDA deal, okay? They don't own you. You can leave. Sorry.
It's good. Great.
I apologize. You can see how passionate I get.
And it's great. I'm going to have to cut you off, but I do want to say that one thing that we're looking at
Yes.
through our committee is the utility of the non-compete in today's contracts for surgeons and all physicians. And so I'd like to tag you to be part of that discussion.
Please.
Going forward. So,
Google Biden administration non-compete. I hope they do exactly what they've been promising, and I hope that non-competes in every industry goes away this calendar year, especially for physicians and surgeons. Now, California has a lot that's going wrong, but having no non-competes allows physicians and surgeons to find employment where they live. If you aren't going to treat me well, if you aren't going to let me practice the way I want to, I'll go join the group next door.
very good. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Enjoy the passion.